Hello and welcome to the Inns of Court Armoured Car Regiment channel. Today we'll be taking a look at D Squadron's organisation as of July 1944. So D Squadron, Inns of Court, July 1944. This presentation will likely cover after the reorganisation that took place on the 12th of July. And we'll be looking at the Sabre troops, the Matador troop, although this should have been assigned to the Matador Squadron, so it's probably just looking at the D Squadron crew members of the Matador troop assigned to the Matador Squadron, and then there's the support Blitz troop. So the Sabre troops, as can be seen, we have 6 of the light Sabre troops. These each consist of 2 Dingo scout cars. Generally are led by a lieutenant in a scout car, although we do have 2 troops, Troop 4 and Troop 6, which are led by a sergeant in a scout car. And then the second scout car in the light Sabre troop is always commanded by a corporal. And then we have the 3 heavy Sabre troops, each one consisting of 2 Daimler armoured cars and 1 sawn-off Daimler armoured car, which is basically a Daimler armoured car with the turret and front mud guards removed, so that the turret well is used as a crew space. Now, Troop 9 is quite interesting because you have a lieutenant leading the section in a Daimler armoured car, and then a sergeant in the Daimler armoured car and a sergeant in the sawn-off Daimler. And then Troop 7 is led by a lieutenant in a Daimler armoured car, 2 IC as a sergeant in a Daimler armoured car, and then we have a corporal in the sawn-off Daimler. And then Troop 8 is led by a sergeant in the Daimler armoured car, a corporal in the Daimler armoured car as 2 IC, and then a corporal in the sawn-off Daimler armoured car. So for the Matador troop, we have an AEC Mark III Matador led by a sergeant with 2 troopers. Strangely, we then have another Matador armoured car which has 3 troopers in it, and then we have a Daimler Dingo scout car with a lance corporal and a trooper in it. Now, this may not necessarily mean that there's only 2 Matadors and a Daimler armoured car in a troop, and it may not necessarily mean that these are the only crew members of these vehicles. It's interesting to note that the AEC Mark III Matador armoured car had a crew of 4, whereas we're only showing 3 members from D Squadron actually being in each vehicle. Does this mean that the vehicles were undermanned and the extra crew were used to backfill replacements for the main squadron, or was there another member from another squadron in that vehicle? Could, for instance, there have been a lieutenant from A squadron in the Matador car with the 3 troopers from D squadron? This is kind of the interesting element with the Matador troop. There's very little information, and what information you do have seems very contradictory or not quite making full sense. And lastly, we have the support troop, or the Blitz troop. Now, this is led by a lieutenant and 2 troopers in a Daimler armoured car. Then we have a sergeant and 4 troopers in an M5 half-track, a corporal and 4 troopers in an M5 half-track, and a corporal and 6 troopers in an M5 half-track. So, interestingly, you have 2 5-man sections and 1 7-man section. And all this was taken from The Long Road Home, the story of D Squadron, the Inns of Court Regiment from Normandy to the Danish border. I hope you enjoyed and found it interesting. Until next time, cheerio.